Hello, I'm John Feldt. This is the weekly water outlook for the southeast U.S. on July 7th, 2013. Well, here's that jet stream pattern. You can see that this is pretty much unchanged over the last couple weeks. We have a ridge of high pressure in the west. We have that area of low pressure in the east, and this area of low pressure has really been what has been causing a bit of our problems with rain, not just this past week, but over several weeks as that jet energy dips down to the southeast U.S. Now, it was a very interesting week because we really tapped a lot of deep-seated moisture. You might have read some of my information talking about the precipitable waters over 2 inches. And taking a look at this, you can see this enhanced convection or thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico, and that was pulled up by these southerly winds right into the southeast U.S. But in addition to that, look at these upper flow. Here we have this upper flow, and that originates well out into the Pacific. And when we have a pattern like that with mid and upper level moisture from the Pacific, low level moisture from the Gulf, especially where that intersects right along the immediate Gulf Coast, and then pulling inland, you can get very heavy rain. Now here's another picture. It shows it even a little bit clearer in more definition, where we have that deep-seated moisture coming from the Pacific, and that's what pulled well into the southeast U.S. And here's a close-up of that deep-seated moisture and the thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico. And when you get that pulse of tropical moisture pulling up into the coastline, you almost always get extremely heavy rainfall. During the week, you could see that we had these streaks of moisture pulling in, and fairly widespread. Look at all these streaks. This is coming in with that moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. Here's the core of heavy rain pushing in, and lots of heavy rain pushing over the southeast U.S. These plumes of tropical moisture that I talk about a lot and produce some of the heaviest rain when we get those type of setups. So if we look at the observed rainfall over the southeast U.S., I know it's been very wet, but this has been even unusually wet over a wet season. And the areas of red are 5 inches or more, so look how widespread that is. And those areas of 10 inches or more, very classic here, right along the immediate Gulf Coast, right where that inflow of moisture is, and then enhanced over the higher elevations of the Appalachians. That's really classic for this type of pattern. And you can get main stem river flooding. You can also get flash flooding, especially in the higher elevations. Now, if we look over the past 7 days, another week of surplus rainfall. Blue is 2 inches, purple's 4 inches. So we've had 2 to 4, all the way up to 8 inches of surplus rainfall this week compared to what would be normal. And all that moisture's getting into the rivers due to saturated soils. It's recharging our rivers, streams, and reservoirs, and matter of fact, getting to a point now that the concern is much more about flooding than dry conditions. If we look at the past 30 days, you can see this pattern has not just been in the short term, but in the long term, and it covers a large part of the southeast U.S. for the 30-day average as well. Sort of interesting, as we look at the entire nation, you can see some of the patterns that we've been talking about. And we really have some of the primary patterns are dry west and south, and then the wet southeast U.S. So really the southeast U.S., our area, is really the predominant spot right now across the country for wet weather. So the number of rain days over the last 30 days, you can see the dark green is 16 to 20 days. So if you think it's been raining a lot, it really has been. And matter of fact, even a couple pockets here and there of that blue, if you look closely, that's 21 to 25 days over the last 30 days. That's pretty amazing. That's even in the worst case, it's like every other day, and in many cases, it's most days of the month. If we look at the consecutive dry days over very large parts of the area, only anywhere from 2 to 5 dry days. So over the last month, over the last 30 days, it's rained most days with very few prolonged periods of dry weather.